Hey everybody, I'm Joel,
And I'm Michelle.
and we're the Wandering Hearts, and we get a lot of questions about how we travel full time, like what kind of insurance we use, and things like that. And so today we decided that we would start a series where we just kind of answer some of those questions for you. And the first one here, of course, we'll be talking about what we do for medical insurance while we're traveling abroad.
So let's start with our primary medical coverage. Joel and I are both United States citizens. So Joel is covered through the VA because he was in the military. So he's covered throughout all of the United States and the territories, which is nice. And my medical coverage is actually through the state of Tennessee. So that's where our residency is. And that's where I'm covered.
So obviously when we decided to travel abroad, we had to look into some other type of insurance in case we have an accident or something else happens. At first, I thought that we'd be able to get away with the travel insurance that's provided through like our credit card. But after further review, I realized that that was actually more catastrophic insurance, at least for the medical side of thing, like for loss only, like if you lose an arm or a leg or your life. So actually I went way into more detail about that in an article. I'll link in the description below so you can read about that if you'd like. So the purpose of this video, we actually wanted to talk a little bit more about why we decided to go with the Nomad Insurance through SafetyWing, and kind of go into the benefits and things. Now first, before we do that, I want to say in full disclosure, SafetyWing is sponsoring this video, which is pretty awesome because they're actually a company that we use and we started using even before we started traveling on the trip that we're on now. So without further ado, we're going to go into some of the benefits of SafetyWing and kind of go over all that stuff for you.
So why did we feel like we needed travel medical insurance? I guess probably the first thing that comes to mind was just the last 2 years because of COVID and the pandemic. That's something that we obviously have to take into consideration now when we travel. So the one nice thing about SafetyWing is they do offer insurance and a provision in their policy that covers quarantine. So if you're, out on your big vacation or epic journey and somehow you get COVID and you're on your way back, they will cover you for a quarantine. There's also a couple of countries still that do require you to have travel medical insurance as well in order to get into the country. So that was another reason why we chose SafetyWing and why we liked it.
It's of course another really big reason outside of just COVID-19 quarantine issues are basically travel medical benefits. So kind of touched on this earlier, but think of this as basically emergency health care in case you are injured or you get an illness that you might come down with while you're traveling. Basically, you're looking at coverage for doctors, hospitals, emergency medical evacuation, and just more stuff like that. One thing to note is a lot of times this won't cover like any kind of pre-existing condition, but it will cover the acute onset, as they call it, of a pre-existing condition. So if you have like a flare-up or something like that, and you're away, you can know that you'll at least be able to get some coverage.
So the Nomad insurance that we purchased from SafetyWing does also combine some of the travel coverage that we can get on our travel credit card as well, which is nice. So that covers trip delays, trip interruptions, lost luggage, and also travel accident coverage.
So another reason we decided to go with it is the fact that they have a bunch of other benefits that come with it as well. Things like emergency evacuation, emergency reunion, which is pretty cool. So if one of us is hospitalized somewhere, like away from where we're vacationing, they'll pay for you to go to the other person's bedside, which is pretty cool. Additionally, I just like the fact that you get $250,000 worth of coverage and a $250 deductible, which is also very reasonable. The price on it is pretty reasonable too. I think it starts at $42 for 28 days of coverage. You can do as few days as 5, all the way up to 364 days, because they basically do a monthly thing. So it's like every 28 days they can do automatic payments, which is basically what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since we're on a epic 6-month plus journey. It's just we signed up before we left and we didn't have to worry about it. We just get we get charged every 28 days, and then we can cancel it whenever we need to as well. Then another couple of things which unfortunately we have to think about, especially looking after like this last year or two. But you have crisis kidnapping coverage as well as political evacuation. So if something gets a little crazy, yeah, you're covered on that too, which is nice.
Another nice thing about SafetyWing is that you are covered in 180 countries. And if you've already left on your trip and you forgot to sign up for coverage, you can actually sign up in the middle of your trip and you'll have coverage. So that's super nice, and I'd say a good perk.
Also, if you're traveling like a really epic adventure like we are for multiple months at a time, or if you're just like a remote worker and you have this coverage, every 90 days that you are covered for, you actually can go back to your home country and you'll be covered there as well for 30 days if you're a non-US citizen, or 15 days if you're a US citizen. All right, and the last thing I was going to say was, obviously, if you are looking at some kind of insurance, then definitely want to read the policies. Our article's got a link there, or you can definitely go over to SafetyWings and read them there. We actually went through 3 different policies when we were deciding on, yeah, which was just
it took us hours.
Hours and hours of work, looking through every single aspect of the benefits and everything before we decided on using the Nomad Insurance with SafetyWing. So if that means anything to you, then there's that. We'll have links in the description, of course, where you can sign up directly to SafetyWing, and then, of course, our article as well. If there's any other questions you guys have, definitely leave them in the comments below, especially any kind of travel stuff related to like where we're at currently, which is in Bulgaria, or some of the previous places we've been, like Puerto Rico. We've got a lot of Puerto Rico videos. Definitely leave them in there, and we'll try to answer those, whether they be in another Q&A like this or in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks for watching. Happy wandering.